Here we go.
Like, of course you remember when we first started this. Did you think we'd go this long with this?
Definitely not.
Chester Housing Authority. Welcome to our first building community. We turn it over to our executive director, Steve Fischer, who is, Steve, you are not socially isolated, are you?
I think I am in my office, but isolated since no one else is here with me, right?
Okay, yeah, so.
Does that count?
You know, definitions are hard to understand these days, so I guess we'll define isolation on our own.
Okay, well, thank you, Butch, for putting this together. In actuality, we had been planning to produce a forum like this for a while on the various issues that we take on in our communities that we manage. What we did not plan on was that by the time we got to the first episode or presentation, that it would be in time of crisis in which we find ourselves.
I'm going to quickly turn it over to
That was
our
so far
executive
back,
director.
we were still promoting the bag. It's an MLK Day a few years ago,
Yep.
right? Yeah.
Yep. What was that? Again, this is 2012. Wow, we had just done that
So
first.
This first show would be April 2020, right?
April 2020.
Yeah.
And that's when we did the huge MLK event over town.
So-
we had all those people in the middle
So
of the
was
street.
it was MLK Day 2020?
2020.
The bags were done?
That's right. That was the first time we did the bags.
And literally, that, because of when MLK Day falls, mid-January,
Right.
that was literally on the cusp of the start of the pandemic.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's might be the last
Steve Fischer,
public event we
who
did.
is,
Yeah.
Just to provide a little backdrop, we stole our own tagline, which is building community, which you find every time you look at our logo. And I don't know if it's considered stealing if it's your own. So hopefully we're okay. So this, you could call this building community episode 1 if you want. And so we called on some of our friendliest business associates whose expertise is in the health profession, being that health, trying to direct people in our program toward better health lifestyles has been a hallmark of the Housing Authority past several years.
Hey everybody, Ulysses Slaughter here, program coordinator with the Chester Housing Authority, welcoming you to Building Community. Building Community is a new forum that we've put together to help stay connected during this time of what some people are calling social distancing. We hope everybody is taking care of themselves, hope everybody is doing well. And this is a group of fathers. We are calling this session Fathers Are Talking, and we're talking about what does it mean for fathers to comfort in times of crisis? Before we get started, I want to introduce Executive Director of the Chester Housing Authority, Steve Fischer, who back in 2012, Steve, we held our first Fathers Are Talking conversation. You remember that?
Yes, I do. In fact, we're right around the anniversary. It was April 2012. We called our first meeting, and here we are in April 2020.
Still going strong.
We'd like to think so.
You know, like P said, you know, LOL dolls and Shopkins and all of that good stuff makes her happy. She just wants to eat cereal and watch Blue's Clues. But she is upset that she can't get out the house and, you know, go outside or go to this cousin's house or that one's house. So besides the constant love and support, it's just coming up with creative things for us to do and for us to, you know, build memories and spend some time together.
How are you dealing with people around the idea of knowing how to balance in this moment?
You know, I think, Butch, we have to be really careful in this moment. It's important to think about balance and ways that we kind of can still, you know, operate in some sense of with some sense of personal agency, and feel some level of control, you know, able to get, but at the same time, it is very, very important that we do not let that get ahead of what we know about the infectiousness of this virus and its prevalence and the seriousness of it.
Just trying to make sure we stay connected with these youth. I think they need an outlet to kind of express their thoughts in a safe place. So, you know, of course, it's important to discuss the physical health, the COVID. It is important to get that message out, like, you know, they really shouldn't be out. But at the same time, you know, I think this is the larger picture right now.
I remember the anxiety was a big word back then. Everybody was feeling pretty anxious because nobody knew what to do, and it was like the rules were always changing. But the thing I like about what you said here is that we were going to do something like this anyway. And so it wasn't like we were unprepared.
That reminded, looking at this reminded me of that. I actually forgot, because once it got off the ground, it was all about COVID.
Right.
And so it was as if we created it for COVID. But in fact, yeah, you and I had talked about doing something like this just prior, you know, in the months leading up to it. Yeah.
And the Housing Authority was equipped to do this. So it wasn't like we had to go find the components, the equipment, we didn't have to do that. We just had to organize the concept, which is what we did here in episode number 1. And it made sense that we would talk about health in the first episode.